Welcome to the Team Armory podcast, where we have the goal to help young Christians grow in their faith. In this episode, we'll talk about gaming. I'm Chris, and I'm here with Hayden. Welcome back, Hayden. It's been a while, and I can actually say that this time because I haven't talked to you since how long ago? Like 5 seconds before we recorded the podcast.
I guess 5 seconds, but it has been a week since we have kind of had a little kind of conversation like this on for the podcast here.
Yeah, and haven't you been on vacation? How's that been?
It's been pretty fun, you know. Saw a lot of cool things. Probably talk about it later, but we probably should introduce the. Oh,
Didn't you see like some kind of animals over there too? Like,
yeah. At the Smithsonian, yeah, there's an animal section. I saw a lot of very unique animals, so to speak. I saw lions, tigers, a walrus.
Walrus.
Why don't you introduce yourself, Juju?
Hello, everyone. I am Julian, and I live.
Whoa! Okay.
Ah!
Start over.
I live in Texas, and I'm friends with Hayden and now Chris through gaming.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of ironic because of
I
the
know. Because
episode.
the title episode.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, me and Juju have been buddies for a very, very, very long time. Probably my whole life.
for
What
sure.
time had it
We
been?
yeah, we were good Lego buddies and Minecraft friends, and we became better Minecraft friends. Uh or more like gaming friends really in general. Quite a little bit of time ago, you know, a little bit after the pandemic. And
Yeah.
it's been a grand old time. Speaking of gaming, now this episode of course is on gaming. We literally mentioned it five times now. But all you would consider yourselves professional gamers, wouldn't you guys?
Of
Uh,
course, very professional.
no.
Yeah. We're not like 17 hours on games all day. You know, we have lives
Yeah,
sometimes.
we don't live
Sometimes.
in our mom's basement.
Yeah, we're it could be worse. We do play a lot of games and create a lot of funny experiences and stories. I'm thinking of like 70 that we have done. Well, yeah, I guess we could go ahead and get into what we're gonna do for this episode. So for this episode, we are of course going to be talking about gaming with our special guest Juju. We have three questions on gaming that each of us are gonna do. This is kind of standard, TTA podcast format. But I think this is a fun topic, especially with summer rolling around and people having excess of time. And most likely, most of y'all are
Hmm.
probably gamers. I think most of the world is gamers nowadays in this modern era. Just an easy pastime. So,
More than 150 million people in the United States play video games regularly, or at least 3 hours per week.
Wow.
wow.
The gaming industry is really it's really underestimated in its size.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah. Isn't like now YouTubing like what every kid wants to do? That's
Mm-hmm.
like the number one dream job, I guess, necessarily.
It's like YouTubing and game design, yeah.
Hmm.
I think game design was a very like whenever games were first created, like the old Nintendos and stuff like that, people wanted to go into game design. Uh, I
Hmm.
still think it's a very highly wanted job because it's just kind of cool making video games, you know? Um,
Yeah, of course,
but
it's a
yeah,
lot more advanced now.
oh yeah, oh yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into the three questions. The first one is gaming bad or good? The second one is how does the Bible say we should view gaming or things relating to it? And then the third question is how should Christians use video games? So we can go ahead and get into the first question. Is gaming bad or good? Who wants to start off for us this one?
Like I can.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Is gaming bad or good? I'm a little biased, first of all, but I would say it can be both. Let's think about some people that say, oh, it's bad, oh, it's good. It could be a pro gamer that lives in his mom's basement, that never goes outside, never touches grass.
Hmm.
Or it could be a kid that just plays a little bit and he says that he has a lot of fun with his buddies. Well, let's see what Harvard Medical School says about gaming. It said that from a good point of view, that gaming can build a good virtual community. And I would say we've built that, with Chris and some others
Mm-hmm.
through Minecraft in my personal experience. Would you
Mm-hmm.
say so, guys?
I would agree
I would
with
agree.
yeah, we have
Yeah,
formed a very strong community through Minecraft.
for sure, for sure. But what point is it unhealthy? What point do you ask yourself, maybe I need to step back and look at other things? I would say when you are getting sleep deprived or start to idolize it in your life and think about it nonstop, then you should think, let's step it back and take a second. Colossians 3:5 talks about idols in your life, how you should put them to death. Specifically says, put what to death whatever is an idol in your life. So, is gaming good or bad? Yes, but be careful because it can so quickly become an idol in our lives. I would say it has in my experience, and I've had to pull back and say, guys, I need a second. Would you agree?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, especially in summertime, we have nothing to do, like you were saying, Hayden.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, just to answer the question, is gaming good or bad? I think it's overwhelming good, but you have to have boundaries. Gaming wasn't made to be bad. It was just to have good intent, but you need to have boundaries through whatever.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Agreed. Okay.
Chris, you want to go next? Or do you
Sure.
want me to go?
So gaming is not necessarily a sinful thing. For example, it's not unlike other activities such as watching TV or scrolling through social media. And it isn't unlike these things in the way that in and of itself, it isn't necessarily or inherently sinful, but it can
Oh,
easily be. According to health.clevelandclinic.org, much research has been done to show that video games can impact your brain plasticity, your abilities to change in response to learning through the use of attention control and reward processing. The idea here is that you're able to direct more attention towards a certain task, the more stimulated you are by completing that task. So there are some mental health benefits to gaming. However, the same article also states that gaming can result in addiction and other sorts of mental health issues. So, in order to help us better understand gaming and understand when we've crossed a boundary that we shouldn't cross, here are three questions we should ask ourselves. Number one, does it take time away from other places in your life? For example, is it is there time that you could be spending more productively that you willingly choose to replace with gaming? I know for me myself, sometimes I have an alarm telling me to go exercise. I think, okay, I'll exercise in a few minutes, and then I get so concentrated on something that I end up missing my exercise alarm. Uh, Um, Question number two: does it result in sin in your life? For example, some people get very angry when they're online or when they're gaming. If you
Mm.
can't control these outbursts of anger, then maybe it's better for you not to do this. For maybe it's better for you not to be gaming. Number three, does it become an idol in your life and does it take away glory from God? Make sure you're not relying on it. And like Juju said, make sure it's not an idol in your life because the idols in our lives often like to portray themselves as something else so that way we can overlook it and easily pass by without having to realize and confront it head on. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, yeah, that's really good. I guess
that's
I'll finish this one off with it really depends on how the gaming is being used. Like Chris said, could you be doing something more productive? I put down, does it replace Bible time or other important things such as school?
mm,
I think school, Bible time, and very like, personal life stuff. That definitely from my experience with gaming and YouTube, it's replaced a lot of my hobbies. For the past year, I didn't like animate at all. I did not do a lot of my hobbies that I love to do. But fortunately, I've been able to come back and do a lot of that stuff. But it's just, it's very easy to replace too, because gaming is such an easy thing to do, and I'll get onto that later. Um, so that would be like that would be example of gaming being used in a bad way is when it replaces Bible time and stuff like that. But an example of it being a good thing is when it's used wisely. You manage your time well. You use it to spread the gospel or talk about the gospel with your friends. Definitely get onto that a little bit more. But I think a good way to view it is how the analogy Chris gave, I believe, during our social media episode, however long ago that was, or that gaming or thing like it's like a gun, right? A gun can be used to hunt or to kill. Okay? It depends on what the user is going to use it for. Using it to hunt and provide, that's a good thing. But using it to kill in life, that's a very bad thing. So it really depends on how you are using gaming. And I would, say observe how you're using gaming. Uh, what are you using it for, Okay. Let's get on to the second question, unless you'll have any comments. Okay. All right. The second question is, how does the Bible say we should view gaming or things relating to it? Who wants to start off with this one?
Why not?
Okay.
I mean, scripture is in a time period where free time and the concept of not working is far different from today. We have to remember that we live in a post-industrial society, so the amount of free time that we've been given to us is far greater than the pre-industrial societies and even industrial societies in themselves. So that's something to take into account. So scripture doesn't actually explicitly talk about gaming because obviously it wasn't around during that time. However, it does have a take on how we should spend our time and how we should do hard work. For example, let's take a look at Proverbs 14:23. All hard work brings profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. This verse here tells us about working hard and not spending time only talking. What about Proverbs 6:6 through 11? It says, "Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a thief." Again, it's reminding us that while we are young, we shouldn't be wasting away our time. We shouldn't be um, slothful and lazy in what we do, and which can include gaming, which can very easily include gaming. So it's important that we're diligent in what we do. Now, there's also another question that comes up with this: are violent video games sinful? It's often comes along with it. Does the Bible think we shouldn't play violent video games? Let's see. According to Harvard.edu, on an article titled "Violent Video Games and Young People," this is from Harvard. Quote: "Much of their research on violent video game use relies on measures to assess aggression that doesn't correlate with real-world violence. Some studies are observational and don't prove cause and effect. Federal crime statistics suggest that serious violent crimes among youth have decreased since 1966, even as video game sales have soared." Unquote. So when we take that into consideration, playing a violent video game doesn't necessarily mean that you yourself are going to end up violent. However, I still think, and if you remember our last episode, um, we used a point. Is this glorifying the sin which Christ died to save me from? I think there is an extent where the violence it seems to be glorified in a sense, and that's the point where we should say no. We shouldn't. Maybe it's best for us not to play these games because they result in us glorifying the violence in a sense, or the video game themselves glorify the violence. So I would say that yes, there is a line. Um, I would bring up an example that my Bible teacher shared, but I don't know if now's the time for that.
It's funny because I was thinking about that exact one too. I remember him talking about that one too. It's so
I
funny.
know. All right, so yeah, I guess that's what I have to say.
Okay.
You-
Can I piggyback off that a little
course.
bit?
Of course, go ahead.
So with that violent video gaming, I would say we've dipped into that little bit, but into a certain degree. We played Call of Duty, and it was with my brother and my dad, and we had so much fun. But maybe the announcer isn't saying stuff, so we'll turn down the TV volume so we can't hear that. Or maybe the blood isn't the best, so we'll turn off the blood. there are things we can do to stop this violent behavior.
Mm. Hmm.
Yes,
You
I
know,
can I can testify for Juju has indeed done that. I went over to his house and played COD. That was pretty funny. My first time playing, gosh. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna give a little rant. I don't know how to I hate split screen games, man. I can see where you are, you can see where I am. Okay? We're not even looking at our own screen, we're looking at your screen. Where is he? Well, he's around the corner. Yeah, blah blah blah. Okay, you know what? I'm done. All right, let's get back on. Let's lock in again. It was just a little funny rant since we don't really have a joke of the day, but whatever.
Star Wars game.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Okay. Juju, you want to take it next since you already kind of started off a little bit with something.
sure, I can. So with that, the Bible, obviously, like Chris said, doesn't say anything about gaming, but I would say it says stuff about laziness and gluttony, kind of with laziness and just being slothful in general. Um, Gaming is associated with obesity in teens, which is super
Mm.
sad. And it's in the same article with the Harvard Medical, and that is super sad to me. And with that, we get a bunch of adult man children that, like I said earlier, live in their mom's basement, and just don't have any plans
Hmm.
for their lives. And it's very sad. And they make an idol out of it. I kind of skimmed over this, but we can make an idol out of gaming. And I would say an idol is anything that takes you away from God, takes you away from God's glory,
Hmm.
shows nothing to point to God's glory. I have a quick example from the Bible that kind of can be like with gaming. In Exodus 32, the children of Israel start worshiping a golden cow that they've made while Moses is out on the mountain. That kind of sounds silly to worship a cow, but we can do this with gaming, and that even sounds silly when I say that.
Hmm.
Anyway,
That was really
Yeah,
good. Do you have anything to add, Chris?
I feel like I was gonna say something, and I completely forgot what it was.
Ah, well, I need to. So I'm slacky. I don't have my Bible on me. Let me go quickly grab that for my section. Hold up.
You don't have your Bible on you on a Christian podcast?
sin.
You must be excommunicated. We have to launch
No,
another
no, no, no,
inquisition
no, 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 no,
to
no, no,
take
no, no,
down
no. It's
Hayden.
fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine, guys. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay.
back. I have my Bible. See, I'm
All
looking
right.
for it like that.
That's
I
good.
was just caught. I was just caught off guard.
Yeah.
They caught me lacking.
You
Okay.
know, you know, sin is crouching at the door. So
He
you
he
gotta make
he is
sure.
crouching. I can't see his gamer tag. Speaking of gamer tags, um, all right, that was actually pretty good. We should have used that earlier. Okay.
Honestly.
Okay. So, like everyone said, the Bible was written at a time when video games necessarily didn't really exist. Um, I would argue there was a time. Well, it was a. I mean, maybe they had some kind of game. But they probably did. But definitely not like what we have today with our technology. Um, but that doesn't stop the scripture from being able to relate to this, and that's the beauty of scripture is that it is timeless, in a sense, to where you can pretty much relate to anything. So we're not relating to anything. Well, yeah, I'm kind of rambling on here, but anyway, I think one such way that the Bible relates to gaming is Ten Commandments. Have no other God before me, as Juju said. Is gaming becoming an idol in your life? What are you replacing with your gaming time? You know, are you spending more time gaming than in time with God? Kind of weigh these ideas in your mind. Uh, Now there's a good verse in Romans, which I've talked about what Romans is to I'm pretty sure before, but Romans is a letter to the Gentile Christians in Rome. Oh, wow, that's the name, Hayden. Yes, I know. And this particular section that I'm about to read is called the Marks of a True Christian. Paul is giving a bunch of different marks to a Christian. Romans 12:11. Do not be slothful in zeal. Be fervent in spirit. Serve the Lord. So gaming is a very easy thing to pick up. I've mentioned this before, and I said I mentioned it here. Um, in fact, it's so easy to pick up nowadays that it's become one of the main reasons of time replacement. And I feel like it's that, and then social media. These two things, these two online spaces where we can go to escape, are just so easy to pick up. Like I
Mhm.
said, I've had very, bad personal experience with this where I'll get stuck on YouTube for like 7 hours or however long. I don't really remember anymore. I get stuck on gaming, but I feel like my gaming time, maybe not as much back then, but more now is used quite wisely.
Yeah,
Definitely
I
better
think
than it used to be.
I think
Yeah.
part of it too is social media is meant to be a algorithm. And this algorithm, its number one goal is to keep you interested and
Hmm.
to to exploit the brain basically, in such a way that it shouldn't have been. To over personalize to your own personal thoughts and cares and wants and felt needs, not
Hmm.
actual needs, but felt needs, which we need to do an episode on.
Yeah.
Whereas gaming um can have a similar effect, but it's not quite as drastic, I guess, in the way that it can actually in some ways help improve um your attention in a sense. So it is a little bit of a difference, but they're still very similar.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go back to the verse with what I just said. Now I'm replacing a lot of my time being slothful and doing nothing. And it says not to be slothful, but be fervent in spirit in serving the Lord. Am I serving the Lord with my time on social media? No, not really. I'm just I'm wasting my time. In fact, I'm doing what the first verse says not to do. And so I'd encourage you, observe your time. Do your work as well. Do your schoolwork or any other work for your education or whatever. You need to be doing that. That is your future. If you're replacing it with gaming, then well, your future's going to be stunted there. You're going to start to fall back behind. Observe what you could be doing instead of gaming. Also, think about what you're playing. As Chris said, does it glorify God? Is what I'm doing on the online space glorifying God? I just think about that. All right, move on to the last question. How should the Christian use video games? Who wants to start off with that?
Why don't you? So that way Juju can have like the last word and stuff because he's the guest on the podcast.
He is the guest. He's the
Oh,
guest. Okay.
no way.
It's gonna be nice. Okay. All right. I guess I'll go ahead and start off. Now video games are a great pastime. Don't get me wrong. I think, when used wisely, it is a great, like I said, great pastime. Friends can join in and chat over a good game. Friends from other countries, friends from other areas or other full-on continents halfway across the world can just come on and play a game and chat and get to know each other. Um, I'd encourage the Christian to use this opportunity to evangelize. Now, it's not as effective as talking in person, you know, and I wouldn't really recommend trying to, just fully get into an evangelism thing over a chat in a video game. Um, but I think it's still a good use of video games. Use it to, talk to Jesus with your friends. No, not talk to Jesus. Whoa, I completely misread that. Use it to talk about Jesus with your friends. That's actually fun fact. One of the ways this podcast started is me and Chris just playing Minecraft, just farming stuff, just talking about theology. That's how he got me hooked on theology, got me hooked on, a bunch of other stuff, and I was like, hey, you,
Yeah,
we should do this.
me
Yeah.
too.
Mm-hmm. It was great. It was a great time.
Yeah,
Um,
and it even spread over to other conversations. That's why Juju's on this podcast.
Yeah.
And
that is
also because he
true.
manages his time better than both of us.
He does
Well,
manage
no,
his
no,
time
no, no.
crazy. You need to talk about that. You need to talk
No,
What's
about
your
that.
I did
secret?
not.
Well, yeah. What's your no?
Uh,
You do, Juju. You somehow managed to get your homework done. Exercise. Clean your Lego room. And spend 5 hours on video games or whatever. You grind out. Oh, sorry. I need get back on topic, and then I'll get my rant after this. Um, I would say use gaming wisely. Okay. So I have a few steps. Use gaming wisely is the first one. use it, think about what you're using it, and be sure to manage your time with that. Manage your studies and time with God. Be sure to get those done first and do those, instead of replacing them with gaming. Maybe do gaming after that. Think of how it glorifies God. Is what you're doing, saying, or playing on the video game glorifying God? Think about if other people were to look in and know you're a Christian, but they see you on video games all the time, saying all this stuff, getting all angry, being crazy violent, you know, are they gonna look in and be like, oh, what are they gonna think of Christians then? Right? What are they gonna think of Christians? And then use it to connect with others and talk about God. This is probably one of my favorite uses of gaming as a whole, is just connecting with people, getting to talk with people.
Mm.
And gaming is just something we could be doing in the background. We're really just chatting and talking about life and theology and, just whatever the day brings, or we're just goofing off on a video game. But it's always just a grand time of community and fellowship. Um, but yeah, those are the kind of the main points I'd say of how Christians should use video games. Um, Anything else to add, or do you want to go ahead and start on yours?
No, that's good.
Yeah, well, may I add something real quick? What you were saying at the beginning with how we should use gaming as like to evangelize or talk about it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Chris, you have anything to add?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I can go on to talk so that way,
You can get the last word, the last
yeah,
laugh.
because the last laugh is always given to the guest.
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
I don't know if we did that with like Silas or Cooper. Oh, we did do it with Silas. Silas did get
Yeah,
the last
We
word.
did with
We
Cooper
didn't do it.
too, because I
Cooper.
remember I said
Yeah.
the guest gets the last word, and then Cooper was like, "Oh, thank you, I guess."
Yeah.
That sounds like Cooper. All right, let's go ahead and you can start off, Chris.
Okay, I guess when I first saw the question, the first thing I thought of was how should the Christian use video games as in use it as a tool. So I thought maybe evangelism. However, I guess that would also depend on your field. If you're that kind of person who is constantly meeting new people online, then
Mm-hmm.
evangelism could be a possibility. However, it's not the most effective place for evangelism. There are certainly better fields, but if you are going to spread the gospel while you are talking to someone online, then that is not a bad thing. I think that can be a good thing, especially if people can people can come to faith through a gospel tract, then why not someone online? Um,
Mm-hmm.
of course, people online aren't going to be as open, so it is possible. I remember the guys over at Solacast, they had an episode on this, and their guests were talking about this possibly using talking to spreading the gospel online, and they said that the conversations they had, or they deal with a lot of atheists, from what I remember. So yes, it is a possibility. Of course, it's not for everyone, and you know, if you're going to evangelize, you should also do it in the real world. Takes practice. One day we'll have an episode on evangelism if we haven't already. Because again,
Mm-hmm.
another thing we could do is build communities, build friendships, like how I know Juju and who else do I know? I guess I don't know. I guess
We've met a few other people from online.
Yeah.
We've also become really close friends, Chris, through online gaming. That was way before both of us played Minecraft Java Edition.
Oh yeah,
That was
those are the
long,
days.
long before the golden era
The, the golden age.
oh gosh, that was so long. I'm gonna cry. Okay, keep talking, keep talking.
Okay. Also, as Christians, we should set limits. Monitor screen time. Make sure that we're not. It's not becoming an idol in our life. Which again, we've already mentioned. What is this? The fifth time? Sorry,
Yeah.
Juju. We have to keep stealing from you. But set limits
No,
and
no,
stuff.
no.
Fasting is also a thing, like video game fasting or technology
Mm-hmm.
fasting. People have done that before. But
Mm-hmm.
since we're on this, the fasting subject, and my Bible just happened to be open in Matthew 6 and 7. Let's just read Matthew 6, chapters, verses 16. Whenever you fast, don't be gloomy like the hypocrites, for they make their faces unattractive, so that their fasting is obvious to people. Truly, I tell you, they have their reward. So yeah, when you're fasting, remember scripture. You don't have to make it obvious. You don't really have to tell anyone either. that you're fasting unless these people are who actually you talk to online. So that's a thing. It can help you overcome this um easier reliance on it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. Anything to add?
No, I think you tackle it pretty well.
Yeah, I would agree. Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how should Christians use gaming? I think we can evangelize and talk about God and his word through gaming, like we were saying, is just harder. But I also think we can use it with discretion and discernment because gaming isn't inherently bad, but when you add a element of random people, it can be and it can get bad.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give an example. What happens if you're hopping on with the boys? Some you know, some you don't. Like us three, we know each other, but what happens if there's a guy we don't know that well? We're hopping in a voice chat, playing Minecraft, and we get in a voice chat, and the conversation is going into kind of a weird place
Yeah.
where I
Mhm.
don't feel comfortable with. Maybe we don't. So, what do we do then? Do we leave? Do we? Well, there's a little pressure behind leaving. We feel like we're just leaving the group. But I feel like God would tell you in
Mm-hmm.
your heart, you should leave. It's your gut feeling to go or just, I don't know if I feel comfortable with this or change the subject. But
Mhm.
with that, there are going to be times where you need to have discretion and say, oh, I've been on too long. Oh, this guy's talking about something weird. Oh, maybe I should do something else. Or this is a great time to play. I've finished all my things. I have done all that I need to do. I've been with God today. I've really enjoyed it. But I think we should just have discretion through it all. Anything to add? Mine was very short, sorry.
No, no, it
It
was really good.
actually it reminded me of something. I forgot to mention that for those people who happen to game to meet new people and stuff, make sure that you're also being Christ honoring in these
Mm.
situations because uh one excuse people often use is, well, it's not my real self, or something like, I'm not like this in real life, or they don't know who I really am. So don't hide behind these things. Be Christ honoring in every situation. You don't. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
that's pretty much what I have to say.
Yeah. You know what immediately popped in my mind when you said it's not me?
Huh?
You know that scene from Batman Begins when Batman runs into Rachel and he's like, I am more. And then Rachel says something like, it's not like blah, 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 that defines you, or something like that. I'm sorry, that just immediately, the movie geek buff, whatever you call that, comes out immediately there.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think Juju, why don't you talk about how you manage your time with gaming? Because you do it a little bit better than we do. I don't care what you say. You're being too
Yeah.
humble. No, I'm
I
It's
joking.
too.
definitely do not. But I think I just try to, I'm very bad at it. I would say I just try to focus on one thing at a time, whether it's
Mhm.
working out, finishing school. And I would
Yeah.
also say have people in your life that are going to say, hey, you need to get back on schedule. You need to stop doing this. You need to get back on schedule. Go and do school. And you like that would be my mom or my brother in this situation.
Oh,
Hmm.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to be like Rocky, and you need to have your own master Uber.
We are being a little bit goofy, but I think that's good, you know.
Well, no, no.
That's
He.
just
I mean, wait.
Rocky does have that one guy. I've never seen Rocky, but I know he has that one guy that helps
Yeah.
him.
No,
Yeah.
no.
yeah,
That's a
there's
good point, though. Accountability is really. I forgot
Oh
to mention
yes.
that.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. Accountability is good, guys. With great accountability comes great accountability. As
yeah.
Miles's dad says in Spider-Verse, true story. And then Miles is like, "That's not how it goes."
That's
I'm sorry.
true.
I
This is
had
true.
to. The movie quotes are going a little bit crazy, but hey, it fits, so whatever. Um, yeah, I definitely
It's
think it's funny. We'll go ahead and share a little bit about our gaming time. But whenever Juju says he has to get off, he goes and does something else. Now, when I say I get off, it means I'm getting off for food. I'm getting off to go like just leave. I'm leaving the house. I never get off to go like work out or something like that. So whenever Juju says he's getting off, I'm like, oh, he's gone forever. And then he's like, and then next you know he's working out or something. Like, what? Does he do that? I'm like, impossible.
Well, I think I see his strategy here. Okay, let's say this.
Oh no.
Don't think about purple dinosaurs. Now, what did you just do?
I thought about it. I thought about Barney.
You thought about Barney, yes. So don't think about purple dinosaurs. So what happens when you're told not to think about something is you end up thinking about that thing more. So Juju's strategy here is he's thinking about other things. So he has other things to focus on. He has a life.
We all have lives.
The Mr. Incredible theme or like not the theme, the Kronos Unveiled theme starts playing in the background. Hayden finds out the truth. I'm on the supercomputer. I type in the code walrus. It's like all the different like little things, and the last one is gaming time. It shows like how many feats, all the feats Juju has when he games. And I'm just like, what? Impossible. Sorry, I'm really on a movie thing today. You know,
Okay.
it is like my hobby to just watch movies and then critique them. But that's for a different day.
No one will be.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess since we're already done here, we can go ahead and I can finish off the episode unless y'all have any final thoughts.
I feel like I had a joke I was supposed to tell. Oh, right. If we had no joke of the day today, I mean, technically we did, but it was like walrus or something.
The joke of the day was the walrus intro, but we had like 7 funny things that happened because we're just teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was even though we were funny, we still were productive. We weren't slacking.
Yeah.
Speaking of slacking, this episode is ending. So,
All right.
thank you for listening this far. I know that it can be a little bit troubling sometimes to get through this much teenager,
Yeah.
and goofiness. But yeah, wait, y'all, you're gonna add something? I saw the little things around your names. Oh, be sure to share the show with people who may struggle with gaming a lot, or people who just want to learn more about this. It's always just nice to share the show.
Yeah.
I
want to know where Juju lives.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. If you to condense this episode down, use gaming wisely. Be sure to think about what you're replacing with gaming time. Be sure to use use gaming for fellowship and community evangelism, all that other stuff. But also have people have some accountability when you're gaming. Have people come in and say, hey, you've been on for quite a bit today. Why don't you do something else? But yeah, be sure to check out the 2 podcasts we always recommend. Solocast, they're wonderful. They have an episode on gaming. They go really in depth in that episode, and it's a great one. Hearts for the Lost, an evangelism podcast. If you feel like you want to learn more about evangelism, we did talk about a little bit about evangelism in this episode. Be sure to check them out as well. All right, Juju, you have the honors of we're gonna do the Shield of Faith shields up thing. So you need to time this perfectly. We don't want to have. I think with Cooper it was pretty good. With Silas we got it eventually, but we were just kind of just laughing half the time. It was pretty funny. But here, let's see if we can get a perfect one first try, and if we don't, that's totally fine. The power of editing will make it look like we did it.
Okay? Yeah.
I'm gonna say Shield of Faith, and then hopefully you know the timing. I'm gonna say shields up. Okay. Ready? I know.
Yeah.
This is with Juju.
The pressure is on.
It's not that much pressure then.
Shield of Faith.
Shields up.
Shields up.
Shields up.
It sounded pretty good. Juju was kind of going, though.
I don't know.
All right, time for the end of the podcast debate. Walruses are bald. To prove me
What
wrong.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
They have
They have
whiskers.
no hair
Oh, that's
on their
true. If
heads
they
though.
have hair, they're not bald.
That's like saying a guy with a mustache is not bald, but he has no hair on his
Okay,
head.
Well, no, because
I
the
have a
face is not
question.
part of the
What
head, but
happens
with the
if a
walrus, their
guy
head is so round that it counts as part of their head.
exactly? But what happens if a guy has like lamb chops with his beard? Would you count that as hair because it goes so far up?
What? Yeah, I'm done with this argument, bro.